We're a very small sport, but a niche pocket that we're punching above our weight. So, we've got an amazing world ranking. We had 5 crews at the Olympic Games, all making A finals. We're winning medals continuously on the world circuit. So we're sort of the small pocket of excellence that's not really a big sport in South Africa from rowing, because the majorities are football, cricket, and it's a European sport that we're competing in. So it's an awesome little team, and obviously punching way above their weight. I mean, this game, you put a lot of passion and time in. And I guess it's not easy for us in South Africa on the rowing side. But when you do well, the emotions are huge. I think a friend of mine who coaches the British team, they expected to win gold. So when they win, it's sort of a relief that they didn't fail. The difference with us is we're not expected. And we know we're punching above our weight. So when we do, the emotions for the athletes, the emotions for the coaches are just that much greater. There's that old saying that the journey is only measured by the difficulties you encounter to get there, and then the success of it. So I think our journey is pretty good, and it's a big emotional one. So there were lots of tears, and you often dream about it, but to actually touch it and feel it is something special. It takes a long time. I've been coaching now, I forget, it's 2017 now, since 1996. I'm a very young coach in the world of rowing. And athletes I've been working with, the guys who won gold in London, I'd worked with some of them for 10 years. Lawrence and Sean, who were now in Rio and won silver, I've been working with them for 10 to 12 years. So it takes a lot of time, but it takes a lot of dedication and time as much. So the dedication is they train 3 times a day, every day of the year. For 3.5 years leading up to the Olympic Games. And it's obviously not a money sport, so they're really doing it from a passion and a will to be on the podium and obviously see the South African flag rise. I'm still getting to grips with it. I mean, I found out back in October that I was on a short list of 6 coaches, and I looked at the other coaches that were on the list, and they were also very successful, and mentors who I have huge respect for. And I often look how they work and try and replicate that. So to find out on the 2nd of December that I actually had won it, I'm still overwhelmed with it. But I think it makes more key that it's also my team. It's not just about me. I'm one person in the cog who's obviously heading it all up. I've got other coaches, physiologists, doctors, and it just puts South African rowing on the map, and saying we can punch above our weight and we can be successful. But I'm very humbled to have won it, and I know it's hard to get on the list, and I don't know if I'll ever get on there again, but yeah, so it's been an emotional one. I think you've got to have a lot of passion, obviously, in the sport, and you give a lot of time. But I think my goal as a coach is to see an athlete develop, and it takes time. So I think you've always got to have the athlete's heart and their interest always to come first. It's not about me as a coach. It's not about how successful I am. It's about how successful I can make athletes and how I can guide them to having the knowledge, doing the right training, having the trust in the system, having the trust in the coach, and watching them be successful. I'm very happy to be in the background as long as I can see them on the podium and I've done my job well. I think sometimes coaches don't always do it. I'm not one who, athletes don't row for me, they row for themselves, because at the end of the day it's only about them. I'm there to facilitate a process of getting them from an average athlete to an Olympic champion. Financially, it's been a difficulty, and we're definitely better off where we've been in the past, and I think that's slowly coming on. But when you don't have money, you start realizing of ways you can do things better. So we try and have a perfect team in the sense of way of living a high performance lifestyle. So everything we do must be spot on, correct and right. Like the athletes eating very well, not drinking too much at times, good quality sleep. So I think one of the things as our team is successful is we do the small things really well. Bigger teams that have money, have gadgets, travel a lot more. We don't travel a lot, but we try and do I think, more important things exceptionally well on how we do it. And we're measuring those on a daily basis. So we're honest with each other, and it's not always easy telling somebody you're not doing as well as you think you're doing. And we have a big honesty factor within our team, which is brutal sometimes, because it's not always what some people want to hear. But it's about doing the small things really well. We have a saying in our team that training is actually free. There's no cost to it. So they rock up in the morning and they want to be there, and I'm there to train them. It's hard and ruthless. Life's not fair. Sport's not fair. And I think in the corporate world, it's also probably not fair. And as soon as you come to terms with that, you start looking at other avenues that you can control to do really well. As a coach, I am a bit of a control freak, but I can't control the weather. I can control everything else in getting us to the race and making sure that we execute everything that's in our power to do well. And I think within the corporate world, if you can understand that model, I think you can probably be that much more successful. So about a year and a half ago, there was an ad they wanted to make, and there was a dual thinking of this thinking pulling together, and it's very much what we do in a rowing boat. And there's a good analogy. That's also what's done in the corporate world. And we made the most amazing ads. It was 10 days of hard from our side, learning what the movie industry is like, and doing it up in Lesotho and in our training venue here. And that's where it all started for us. And I think the relationships just built up over time, and I hope it can get better and better as we go forward, as they are one of the corporates in South Africa who's coming forward and really helping a sport that can achieve and be successful. I learned after London, we won Olympic gold there, and I was still that was 4 or 5 years ago, and I really thought things would change, and I was still a very young coach. But I realized that to get the same success, I had to come back and do the hard yards and the hard work. And it's the same now. I'm flying off to Canada tonight, and I'm really worried that I'm going to be 5 days away from my team, which I should be here every morning on the water with them and watching them train. So nothing changes. World standards, I know all my competitors are training just as hard, if not harder, and we've got to make sure we're matching that. We're working hard towards Tokyo. I think the belief in the team is very strong now. Getting fourths and fifths, it was a hard lesson for us coaches and athletes to learn. However, winning a silver and knowing that we can be competitive on the international stage has really given us the belief that if we do it exactly the same and a little bit more, we can turn those fourths and fifths into all golds. But we're very proud of the silver medal, because to walk away with nothing would be 10 times worse. But to come away with a silver, and for two athletes that Lawrence Britton had cancer and was out of the sport and fighting for his life 18 months ago. So the stories are amazing, and we hope with those results we can obviously do better in Tokyo.